Radio Free Tatooine presents Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
Boshuda, fellow Holotable hustlers, you're tuned into Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that's better than some and worse than others. I'm Sean, a.k.a. the other Sean, and sitting across the holotable from me is Josh, a.k.a. the Golden Pop-Tart.
So we had July 4th last week, right? And the fun thing on who I was going against in GAC, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of this, was named Patriot.
Oh, nice.
And my score was 1776.
No way!
I mean,
that's amazing.
I had to start with that because that was just, it was perfect.
It's weird, like when you on July 4th you get matched up against someone named Patriot, you're like, well,
right?
I should let this guy win. But
well,
but we're not going to do that.
No. I mean, I let them win in every other one. July 4th was mine.
Right. Oh, it's a weird week. Like last week, we recorded on the 4th of July to release later, and we were almost going to skip the show because there was there's all this stuff going on. We got like cookouts and all that, but then just a fire hose opened up.
Yeah,
and Capital Games just blasted us with all these new portraits, the new raid changes, new datacrons, all this stuff. And we said, you know what? I guess we have to do a show. And then this week, nothing much.
I know, right?
So we're going to talk about the raid now that we've had more time with it and a little experience with the actual mechanics of it, as well as the rewards from it. That's a bit of a topic right there. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a bit about our final 5v5 Grand Arena with these beautiful datacrons.
Oh,
Darth
man.
Sidious. Oh, you're back
on
the bench, buddy.
Come on.
It's going to break my heart. But first, let's celebrate some Blurf days. All right, so last week I think there was one Blurf Day, and it was Raven's Claw. That's it, right? Well, this is a very different week because we are celebrating. On the 12th, we've got Bastila Shan turning 6 years old. I had to do the math there. And then we have Commander Cody, Jawa Scavenger, and Chief Nebbit all turning 8 years old. They all released in conjunction with what? Darkside? Geonosis? With one of the territory battles. One of the Geonosis territory battles. No, it wouldn't have been Geonosis. It would have been... Wow. No, I don't think it was a territory battle. It feels like they must have... That must have been an event, but they did weird stuff back then. They're just like, here's 3 characters. Blah. Let us know if show at radiofreetatooine.com. Let us know what else. Did those guys come out as part of something?
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing for me is when I turned on my game originally, they were already there.
They were, right.
I
remember Scavenger and Nebbit coming out was kind of cool because it finished the Jawa faction. At launch, there was Jawa and Dathcha. Engineer came out with the Pit Raid. And Scavenger and Nebbit, I don't think it was a special event. I think they just dropped. Plop. Here you go. You'll need them in 6 years when you fight the Crate Dragon.
Commander Cody is kind of a plop, right? A little bit.
He was a big deal for the tank raid initially.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. The, what was it called? Machine Gun Leia. team where you had Commander Cody, a bunch of clones, and Leia. That was a solid little team against that tank.
So he had a moment in 2016, right?
Oh, he did. Like, his Zeta was early. When Zetas first came out, his was one of the hot ones. Like, it was worth it. And I am looking at my roster. I still don't have it. I just, like you said, he had his time. Mm-hmm. But now with Gas and with Bad Batch and Rex, like, you got other clone options out there. All right. Let's see who else. On the 13th, we have Jolie Bindo turning 6 years old, and then Princess Nisa hitting her first birthday. So she's like,
wow,
accelerate time.
Yeah, right. Layer requirements are going to be accelerated. That's pretty crazy to think about.
It is. When I think of the hustle I went through a year ago to get that, but they were so, honestly, with that release, they were so generous with with all those additive drops. That was fantastic. I mean, the requirements were kind of high, but those additive drops, man, they made a big difference.
I hope they bring them back. I mean, make it to where it's not like a 3-year thing for some of these characters anymore. And so hopefully, I mean, with Balin and all this happening, it'd be nice to make them accelerated.
Absolutely. Give us a leg up. I mean, they kind of did that with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. The drop rates were way lower.
Atrocious, yes.
But, I mean, it's
bad.
It's something. On the 15th, we've got Omega turning 3 years old. And then on the 16th, we have 3PO and Chewie turning 4 years old. Lots of July blurf days, it would seem.
Yeah.
That's my family. We got a ton of July blurf days. So, yeah, that's it. Happy blurf day, all of y'all. Now let's take a look at this week's upcoming in-game events brought to you by swgohevents.com. For a complete list of past, present, and future events, swgohevents.com is a universe of info in a galaxy of heroes. Now, we have a lot coming up this week. On the 12th, we've got an Omega battle on Hoth. We also have a Galactic challenge. This will be on Dathomir, and it's bonuses for Hutt Cartel fighting against Night Sisters. So, I mean, that's a solid one for the bonuses to be Hutt Cartel. You're like, okay, well, if you have Jabba,
you got it.
You better be able to beat this. If I can't beat it with Jabba, come on, man. Come on. On the 13th, we have a Military Might coming up. 14th, we'll have a Contraband Cargo as well as Territory War number 333 sign up. On the 15th, we'll have an Omega battle on Dathomir as well as Discarded Doctrine for anyone working on Executor. And Grand Arena Season 55, Week 1. We're back to 3v3.
Wow.
Let's shake it up. Let's see what we can do. See what Darth Bane can still do.
I know. I'm so nervous about that.
I know. And all these new ones, too. The new datacrons are just... I don't think I'm alone in not having wrapped my head around them yet. We're going to talk about them later. But it's a thing. On the 15th, we'll also have another Galactic Challenge dropping. And then the 17th will be a Rebel Roundup. On the 18th, we've got another Territory War, number 334. Sign up period begins. And Jedi Knight Cal Kestis' Hero's Journey will arrive.
That's nice.
Just in time.
I mean, it's just really nice to finally get these permanent, to make it to where, I mean...
Yep.
And again, I mean, it's like when you look at some people, they were so close at the beginning, and it's how many times has it really been? It feels like it's only been 3 times.
I know, it's weird because like Bo just kept popping up when it happened. We were like, okay, yeah, I get it. I don't have that yet. Can I please get Cal to return? And then also on the 18th, we have a Finalizer, Fleet Mastery. So pretty busy week. Keep in mind, we're doing this conquest thing.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got Rise of the Empire or whatever territory battle going right now. So,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's always
It's a lot.
a lot. We were talking before the show, like, my conquest has not been my best work this time around. And
I mean,
if anyone in
you're
my
probably
guild
going to
is
be okay,
listening,
though.
my territory battles have not been my best work this time around. I've gotten the bare minimum done. Like, I haven't skipped a special mission, but I have not been the best. So, let's see. What else do we have? That's it. All right. So before we dive into this week's top stories, let's give a quick shout out to our fantastic Patreon supporters. If you enjoy what we do and want to be part of our exclusive community, head over to patreon.com/Galactic War Report. Your support makes this podcast possible, and you'll even get access to the VIP section of our Discord server where silly things happen. Now then, punch it, Pop-Tart.
I feel like we're not going to go in reverse, but we're definitely going to be coasting a little bit with this one. So the nice part is I think you're going to get a little bit more thoughts and feelings tonight. So I know that's what you guys normally like tune in for here.
It's
so
a very special episode of Galactic War Report.
Well, I mean, there's just a couple things that I think that are. If we start with a Naboo Raid, I mean, I'm going to start off with the one thing that I'd really like about it is just overall the background is outstanding. The mechanics of going into space is outstanding.
It's great.
I
As
love
you were
that.
describing
right?
it to me, it sounded like way too much. Like, what is even going on? No, it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah. And I think that like that sides of it, like, and you talk to people like this is great. And then you have like the other side of it where you got some thoughts, you got some feelings, you got some frustrations. So it's kind of an interesting, raid in general for it. But let's first start with kind of like you heard kind of me talking about it. Did it live up to what I said? Or was it different?
I think it did. It was intimidating because when we spoke last about it, my guild was finishing up a speeder bike run, and it was going to be, like we'll start this eventually. And so I had literally no experience with it yet. Since then, we have run it. I got to try it, and I'm not good at it, it would seem. So it was a little humbling, honestly, to see my pathetic little scores. And honestly, it kind of hit at a time when it was conquest, it was territory battles, and it was this raid, and Grand Arena, and this raid. And I'll be honest, like, my heart wasn't super duper in it.
Yeah.
That said, I had a good time. I mean, I enjoy it. It's fun. My teams that I was running, I did the 4 Gungans I have, and 2 of them are not 7-star yet, so I'm tier 0 with these Gungans. But I did put the Omicron on Boomadir, whatever one has the raid Omicron. And that was a piece of cake.
Nice.
Just easy full score. I mean, part of that is tier 0 where you've got 2 Relic 5 characters. You're kind of like, every time they take a turn, it's like Boss Nass does his little slobber move, and
yes,
everyone drowns in a pool of slobber.
I mean, it's giving you that confidence that you just feel great, but then you realize it's like playing a sports game. You're like, man, I'm destroying them, and then you realize you're on rookie level. I mean, but still, you're like, I still beat it,
Yeah. So we ended up getting 4,000 of the get 3 stuff. I don't remember, to be completely honest, what we were getting from the one before, but I feel like 4,000. I know a lot of guilds are doing a lot worse And I'm not saying that as a brag. I'm just saying that as a...
Yeah.
I should get in and do my territory battle stuff so I don't get kicked. Because I guess let's talk about that for a second. That's a real beef that a lot of people have with this. And I hate to see these kind of situations in the game where some new content comes out and a lot of guilds, I don't want to say a majority, but probably a majority of guilds are just not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Not as prepared as they thought they were going to be, for sure. And I would include us in that we were kind of like, whoa, what is going on? Now, granted, we had a few of our players in my guild did really well. Sep from swgoh.gg put up 12.6 million.
Jeez.
And I'm like, bro, what's going on there? I did 2.5 million was all I could do. And I know next time around I can do so much more. I didn't remod for it. I just I was like, this is our first run with it. I'm just figuring things out and I'm exhausted. Yeah. And so I think remodding for some teams would make a huge difference.
I mean, you just said 12 million is your top. So our top was 4.1. And so, I mean, that was...
Well, it falls off dramatically.
I mean,
like, he is by far... Let me see. Second place... Let's see. Second place was 9.2 mil. I guess we got some heavy hitters.
Yeah. What's your lowest?
Well, I think we had a couple people didn't hit it. Like, they might have joined... lowest actual score was 345,000.
Okay.
But that's,
I mean, ours was 220, so I wondered if that was like...
That's a new player in our guild.
Well, I mean, when we look at ours, I mean, I'm looking at it going, okay, so the gaps between, what is it, the 4th and the 5th. So you go from 10 to 14 to 22, and then all the way up to 67. So, I mean, that's a pretty big gap to be able to go through. So, like...
It is.
For us, I mean, we got the 22 million one, so that's only 1,500. And then of those get currencies, then for us to get to that 67.5, that's a huge jump, and you only go up 500 of those. Yeah. So, I mean...
Yeah, we got the 130 million crate, and I don't remember our exact score, but I want to say it was right around 200 million is what we got. So... I mean, if we can push up to the next crate, that's another 1250 of that get 3. So, and I think we certainly can in the relatively short term.
So we dropped, we dropped unbelievable on this when you really look at it. So, so we basically dropped, almost 150 million. Is that right? There's no way that's right.
There's a way. That's what a lot of guilds are experiencing. Yeah.
300. I mean, so basically right around 300. Oh, my word. I guess, I mean, I was feeling rough about it already, but now I feel even worse. Yeah. I mean, so then we were basically at 50. So, about 150 million less. And then, wow.
We were 130 million is the crate that we got. We got about 200 million. Our last speeder bike run was about 430 million.
Wow.
I mean, maybe a little higher. Yeah, 450-ish. Where does it does like you just have to guess off the previous attempt. It doesn't actually say the number.
I know. I just chose the closest one to it. I mean, at least it shows it there. But I mean, it just really kind of goes back to like I felt like in the crate raid, I didn't have the Tuscans, and so then it took me a moment to get Jabba, and so when I finally got Jabba, I felt like okay, I did way better. Yeah. But I mean, I know that I had teams that would do better than my overall best score. And it wasn't even Galactic Legends, and so then you look, I mean, as bad as if you like it or you don't like it, the speeder bike, I mean, I did all of mine on, I mean, all I hit like auto and walked away. And I still did Route 2 pretty well. So, I mean, it just feels...
To be fair, you can do that in this with some teams, too.
Well, I mean, it depends on what...
You're just not going to get a good score no matter what.
Right? I mean, I can still hit like auto on this, but
Yeah.
I do think that like in this event, it's you go after the droidicas and the staff. So I mean, it's not like a tough thing. So I mean, and it seems like
the strategy is not. It's mod strategy and composition. Once you're in the battle, it's pretty straightforward usually. I will say the Maul and Sidious team. Ideally, you time it so you do both AoEs back to back to clear everything out.
Yeah,
but that's about it. It's not like it's a deep strategy. It's just like that. Anyway, you play the game long enough, like if you can time your AoEs to all hit at the same time, that's ideal. But
and we know like if it's gonna be, I mean, realistically, we're probably not gonna get another raid this year, right? So this will be it until the end of the year. And so Ahsoka will be most likely by the end of the year. I mean, even, Padawan Obi-Wan and, the Queen Amidala team, I mean, that's going to be pretty dang good. I did watch some people even underman it with 3 with them and did pretty well. So, I mean, I feel like right now, I think it's just such a big gap between the two that it's a lot of like that sticker shop, not shock, but,
right.
And so... But it does feel like we're starting so much lower.
Yes.
That it's so more noticeable. And I think probably too because, I mean, there was already kind of that frustration at the beginning with the fact that they had like the crates. You had to basically have Relic 9s and then they kind of went back on that. But it's weird. It looks good. Right? It plays pretty fun.
So I guess the final... The deal with the rewards is I would love to see a rework of the rewards. And I know like every post on Reddit is like rework the reward. Like, I mean, of course, everyone wants more stuff. But when you break it down, it is like, I think the majority of like mid to upper tier, whatever that means, I guess, guilds are getting less. Like our income just got cut, and does Capital Games owe us get 3? Not necessarily, right? They don't owe us anything, but if the user experience is, I'm used to getting this much. I still have the same roster. I'm still grinding, pushing just as hard, and now I'm getting half as much.
Yeah.
That feels real bad. Like I'm not trying to like throw shade. I'm just saying that's a bad user experience when you just say, okay, you guys don't get this anymore. And I know we can all work on it and we can get more. There's a path, right? But it's things like this that split guilds up.
Yeah, definitely.
Like people are, and I totally get it. If I had a good roster and I was pulling my weight and getting good rewards on this, and the rest of my guild was just a bunch of screw ups, I'd be out. Like, sorry guys. I mean, I may like interacting with you and this may be a team thing, but like, I can't do this. And I hate it when any kind of piece of content moves in the direction of splitting up established guilds, Fortunately, we haven't had anyone leave our guild because of this. I mean, we got enough heavy hitters that I think we're going to be okay. And the majority of us that scored garbage, like me, are going to be... we're working on the teams, so we're only going up. But it's a bold move. It's a bold move, and like people talk about testing, and I'm like, like the testing. In my opinion, the testing was fine. It's playable. It's fun. I enjoy this much more than the speeder bike raid. I understand what's happening much more than the speeder bike raid.
Yeah.
But that's not a testing thing. That's just a like numbers that like you're just taking stuff away. Come on. But Speeder Bike, didn't they redo the rewards real quick when that came out?
Ooh, I don't remember, to be honest.
One of the two, when it launched, it was like impossible, and they pushed a bulk of the rewards to the early crates instead of spacing it out over every box, so that even if you didn't make it quite as far, you were still getting something out of it. I think that was Speeder Bike.
One thing I keep on thinking about too is like the new game experience a little bit is just, I mean, they're really trying to do a lot to bring people in and really try to get you some relevant characters in this. But when you think about here, I mean, it's not like in the old days where if you weren't able to do the Rancor, then you did the Sith, or, you had a chance to still earn something. And I know we are getting something, but those Get 3 are really important in this game. I mean, it's really important. And so if you have a newer guild, or even a guild like mine, where we would go and do a lesser raid if we still got some of the materials and if there was a little bit way to do it. But now, I mean, it just seems like those newer individuals, they're just not going to end up being able to. I mean, if you're just working on those requirements and you're not even there, it just feels like it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I remember in the past, like having guild discussions about like, hey, can we run a Sith raid real quick on this next one just so I can get Sith Smiter?
Yeah.
I remember seeing those, which that's one I never ended up getting. Like I have Slicker. I absolutely could have, but I don't know. I didn't care that much. But like, if that came up now, absolutely not.
No way, right?
You mean you want us to just miss out on all this currency for a week? That's crazy. And also, I'm glad you brought that up, that the Get 3 is so crucial, because that's what lets you expand your roster into Relic 8 and 9. That's like the thing that makes that much more achievable. And you're introducing this new raid that requires more Relic 9s than ever before. And a new Galactic Legend that just required a Relic 9 character. And like, push to get high relics. All right, cool. Also, we're taking away your ability to get high relics.
I know, right? Like, what? Man.
So, yeah, honestly, I think it would be a good idea for them to take a look at that reward structure. Because if it wasn't for that, I think the sentiment behind this raid would be pretty darn high. It's a low bar coming out of that Speeder Bike pursuit.
I know, right?
It's a really low bar.
Just don't make me nauseous and I'm going to be okay.
And I mean, honestly, like gameplay-wise, it's probably my favorite raid. I can't think of one
I think I'm with you too.
More. The original Rancor I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Every other raid, has its strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like the actual gameplay of it, this is excellent. Just make it worth our time, man.
Agreed. Yeah, and again, I know a lot of times we don't dive into the negative too much unless it's a single episode with just
just me.
Just
look. You get me alone late at night on a microphone after giving all those Gungan challenges. Something strange is going to happen. Yeah,
but I think that like in this case, it's so interesting because it's like it is fun, but then on the other side of it is just so much happening with it that I mean. It's funny because you get something and you do something well and all of a sudden you just take it away, and now I just have this and I'm like, man, do I even want to do it as well? Like, I don't want to go into this and just hit auto because I know I'm not going to hit any good points,
Yeah, and this is definitely one that, like, who remodded for Speeder Bike Pursuit? Nobody. You would remod for Leia because you could only max it with a very specific mod loadout. I didn't mind doing that. That's one character. I'll do it. But this, like, ideally, you're remodding at least a couple teams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had to make sure Luminari actually had all of her mods, so that was like,
oh yeah.
I'm going, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're good. We got some mods on there, so
yeah. Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, the nice part of this is it's going to be here for a while. I know it feels like it's going to slow down a little bit with certain things, but at some point, people are going to feel better about it when they do have all the characters for it. When you finally get your Gungans going, when you finally get, your Queen Amidala going, and when we get the new GL, we're going to be like, man, this is one of the better raids. But some of us are going to remember this moment.
Yeah.
And we'll still talk about it. We'll bring it back up.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
worry.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, I mean, so now we talked about one really good thing. So let's move into the next really good thing that people are having a lot of fun with. Let's talk about datacrons. Because they are...
Datacrons.
I mean, they're another one of those things where some people love them. A lot of people hate them. Some people do like them.
Yeah. I like the idea of datacrons. And I feel like most people don't like most of the naysayers, I should say, don't even like the idea of datacrons. They think they're a cash grab. They say whatever. Like, I love the idea of keeping battles fresh. So it's not just every time you see Rey, let me get my Star Killer. I know exactly what to do here. That's what Fleets is. That's how Fleets plays out. It's predictable. It never changes. And somehow I'm still terrible at it. But I love the idea of changing things. I will just literally always come back to my number one huge concern with datacrons is defensive datacrons should not exist.
Agreed.
Like things like that Holdo datacron, it enhances the fun for no one. Mm-hmm. It makes a brick wall team, which simply is not fun. The person who's winning is not enjoying it. They're just winning. They set it on defense and there's no interaction. They have no fun. The person who's going up against it, best case scenario, you follow a very specific counter and you win. Every other scenario is if you lose with that one counter that works, you are done. Grand Arena is done. You will not be playing the game anymore that day. And like, that's no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Those kind of datacrons, I don't like them. The Padme one, I feel the exact same way. It's stupid. Every arena match is a timeout now. Like,
oh yeah.
Ugh. And arena schmarina, I know,
but still, I mean, there's still something about doing that and actually getting to a decent level. But well, let's talk a little bit about the datacron sets now. And I think one interesting thing that we did bring up last time, and I know we had a lot of stuff that we talked about, but we really talked about the variety, which is a little bit different in level 6, making it to where it's no longer just a faction. It's actually just what is the role.
The role.
And I don't think that we really realized what that meant in some ways, because there was so much that was, I'm not going to say regurgitated to us, but like all of a sudden we just got data just, threw at us this whole time. Yeah. Yeah, right? And so when you look at the variety, and so there is things that work for attackers, healers, supports, and tank. But what that doesn't do, or what that does do, is make it to where it doesn't lock in that datacron to light side or dark side. It doesn't lock into that datacron into one faction or not one faction. And I understand like the mindset of like, that's kind of nice in some ways. So if I have maybe, like you said earlier, a Star Killer team, or I have one where I really just want to beef up a tank, but then when you get to the level 9s and you have, a dark side character, and then you look back up at level 3 and it's a light side bonus, I mean, that's, again, okay, I got to reroll, and I'm not trying to be bad here, but now it's not 1 out of 6 or, a smaller chance. Now it's 1 out of 10 that you're actually going to get that effect that you want to have. So it just gives it even more likelihood that you're not going to get that. And rerolled stuff is not. I feel like hold on, let me move my soapbox for a moment. But
right,
but it makes it to where you are less likely to get what you need, meaning you're going to have to spend more time, more money, more crystals, etc., just to be able to achieve. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I know. As someone who usually by the end of a cycle, I end up with the good datacrons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will have the top datacrons almost every time. There's generally not one that I'm like in a bad situation because I don't have. But I also am not someone who like knocks it out of the park every conquest with all these extra datacrons and materials. That's not me. So I feel like this really is kind of leaning into the pay to win aspect.
Yeah,
where like
definitely,
if you're not really ponying up, might be the datacron set that kind of humbles you and makes you think, I don't like datacrons, it turns out. Like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, and maybe they change it going forward. But generally, when they change something like this, it usually sticks.
Yeah.
Like when they changed it to you only have to be Relic 5 to use your top character thing. They were like, all right, we'll try it out. And it stuck. Like these kind of changes are usually just kind of like, it's the way it is now, kid. So
yeah. I mean, and again, I think too, like if it does end up this way, if they could make one change, maybe it's just in the level 9 section, don't give people multiple ones. I mean that it's hard enough to get the reroll as it is. Don't give multiple ones, or just don't make trash ones. I mean,
and even if I think you that's get the right part, character, but it's the wrong ability. Now you reroll it, you get some other character. Like.
Well, and it just so that's the hard part for it. And you look at some of these, and it's almost like Phasma from the one previous. And we're like, oh, and if you get Phasma, it's like she points at you as you hit the button, right? I mean, it just it's interesting. But again, I do think it's going to be interesting to see Gar Saxon maybe just get a little bit better. Go through to see Cup get better. I mean, what if, we can get Wampa to even be better? I mean, it is nice to see that. And I know the mindset around it. The bee is in the bonnet a little bit, and I need to find a way to get it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Have you even leveled any up yet?
Well, that's another thing that was kind of salty about is I had a good chunk. I mean, I had all the good ones, right? And I probably worked on these little and had more full levels I need to. I only end up getting 1.5. So I don't even have a full 9 yet. And I actually have more datacrons than I do the materials to even do anything just yet. So I think that's a little frustrating. How about for you?
I'm doing my first one right now. I just got Darkseid uses a basic. They gain speed up for 2 turns. I like that.
Me too.
I got Attacker. At the end of turn, attackers gain defense penetration up and offense up for 1 turn. I also like that. And I'm going through. I can make it to 8. Yep. And then we're done.
Yeah. Now, I did a reroll on my first one because I'm like, all right, I have a bonus for healers. And so healers recover health and protection equal to 50% of the amount the enemies are covered. I don't want that. And so then I hit the reroll, and guess what I had? I had 3 of healers. So, and I'm like, man, I just can't waste the material because I'm at 15 out of 20 left. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to try to be good about datacrons. I'm not good about datacrons right now. So,
Yeah, I'll see. I mean, we'll go through this conquest, see what I end up with here. But it just looks like such a pain, such a pain to put the good datacron together. Whatever. Let's talk about something good.
Yeah.
Let's go from datacrons to data mines.
Ooh. See, and that's why GG is there, right? That's why he got so high, was because he knows all the good stuff.
He knows. Absolutely. Yeah. So new data mine has some interesting stuff. That there is God, what phrase do they use? There's like a battle info screen.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think it said battle info tool.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, when you think about it.
How many times have we complained about not having feet trackers? A lot.
Yeah. In so many different things.
And this is, it looks like, we don't know any of the, like, how it works or anything. But it, to me, in my brain, in my ideal world, so it almost certainly won't be this, in my ideal world, it's like a collapsible window.
Yeah.
Like when you go into options, whether you want the audio on or off, or if you want the icons, buffs and debuffs to be condensed or whatever. A little menu like that that'll pop up with pertinent battle information, such as how many times you've gained stealth, or whatever the thing is that you're trying to do. Because that's one thing that with these galactic challenges, especially these feats, man, I don't feel like it's so bad in Conquest, because most of them are huge numbers that you're trying to hit, and you just do a battle and do as many as you possibly can, and you come out and you're like, okay, I got 28 of them that time, or whatever. But with these galactic challenges, so many times it'll be like gain stealth 30 times. You think I'm counting to 30? You know?
Right? Oh, how about remove 400
turn meter.
turn meter,
exactly.
right? I mean,
and
get out
so
your toes.
That's also something that, like, I think even if you are counting, you can't ever be sure. You're like, maybe that one didn't count because he had foresight. I don't know. You know? So whatever it looks like, and even like we've seen this tech, I imagine it looking like when you unlock an achievement. You know, you relic somebody up to relic 5 and it's part of a journey and it pops up on the side and like, hey, good job, you got this character to relic 5. Even that, even a blink and you miss it thing like that would be awesome.
Oh, great.
So whatever that ends up looking like, and do we know where, like timeline when this might roll out?
We don't know. I mean, they said that there's going to be, most likely there's going to be an update on the 17th. So based on the data mine, so there's no guarantee, but it's already in there. So if they're finding it, it means that it could be part of that, or it could be at any point.
That's essentially, that's what a data mine is this is in the game. As a game updates, the data mine is stuff that is in the game. It just hasn't been turned on yet, basically.
See, but then on the other side of it, though, it's like test mode in a lot of games. I mean, I know like there's been people that have been able to kind of get into a game and go into test mode that was never intended. You know, if I remember right, there was a Spider-Man game where basically if you press the buttons right, you got into a mode where you could create mods inside of the game. And then like, oh, crap, that wasn't supposed to happen. And they patch it, right? And so that's the thing with this is I hope it's a scenario to where it is actually there. But, I mean, on the 17th, there's supposed to be another update based on what they saw. So, but that also could be some marquee characters. I mean, there could be a lot of stuff, you know, but I hope this is something that they talk about, you know, and they say,
I don't
how
see a
great this is.
downside, honestly. No. Like, you look at some of the things that people ask for, like a sandbox mode, right? Of course, we've been asking for that forever. Could CG make one? Yeah. why would they?
I know.
What's the upside to them?
Yeah,
right?
what's the money
They want
value
us
for
to
them?
try and fail, sort of,
Yeah.
to figure stuff out that way. That sounds sinister. I didn't mean it sinister, but like that's the economy. You're spending energy to try things, and I'm not saying that's the best way. I'm just saying that's kind of like what we've all kind of just agreed to, right?
They call it a gotcha game for a reason, right? I mean,
Right.
And it just kind of, I mean, they got to make money, and the fact that, I mean, you were talking about characters that were, released so many years ago. I mean, I understand the money aspect of it, but also too, like, I mean, imagine if you got to practice like something before you did it.
Oh,
I mean, imagine if you, like,
I would love
how much
it.
better would I be?
I would love it, but I don't think that's ever coming. I really don't.
I don't think so.
But back to my point, these feet trackers, if you will, for lack of a better word, this is just like straight up good for everyone. So I could, based on the data mine, I see this as coming. I don't have a whole lot of hesitation. Like, yeah, but it's going to lose them a little money if they. No, it's not. It's like just plain good for everyone.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just think make it to where it's fun. And this is just an aspect to where, I mean, if you're looking at it and you're actually seeing, if you're at 30, like 399%, and you're at the 400 and you keep on redoing it. Like,
right.
Actually, there is a achievement in Red Dead Redemption where you actually have to throw that second one, where you have to throw a tomahawk a certain amount of feet. And I have always been 1 foot off. And it still drives me insane. So then, like, you don't know how far things are, right? But I'm chucking this tomahawk, and you got to kill somebody, right? So that means I'm going to become more evil. But I'm 1 foot off, and it's always bothered me, So
sorry,
like,
Sheriff, it ain't personal. You just happen to be 400 yards away.
I mean, those poor people.
400 yards would be a lot with a tomahawk.
Yeah, that would be. But I think it's Amarillo, I think it is the town. Those poor people. I mean, because you don't get in trouble there. So
the tomahawk
I'm throwing
bandit
tomahawks
of
at
Amarillo.
everybody.
I love it. All right, so let's talk Conquest. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm into Sector 3, only at 227, but I feel pretty good. I'm pretty close to the Cal Kestis one. With unlocking, Pete's, I forgot what his name is already. Here we go. So Moff Gideon, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice, so I get to do that one, which is nice. My light side Mandos, that was done and nice and easy. My potency down's going well. My accuracy down. I will tell you, I'm ready for that Omicron for Mr. Obi-Wan there, because it'll make this a lot easier. But overall, it's going pretty well. It's just, so far, I'm not getting the discs that I love. I'm getting
Same
partials.
Here. I'm getting junk discs.
It does feel like there's a theme right now where we're getting a lot of stuff. So I think before I felt like you had really only 2 sets in each of these discs that really made a lot of sense. Now I think there's like 3 or 4. So that randomness is happening a little bit. And if you want to go through and get those dots, I mean, in the past, I could get so many of those to happen. Or if you want to go where it's like the stacking fever, and going that route, it just seems like there's too many discs. But
yeah,
I mean, but overall,
I'm not getting my precious zealous ambition, and that's. I feel like R2, every time he goes over there and torches them and like no one dies, I'm like, why?
I know, right? But I do think the feats are a little bit easier this time around. I think especially if you have the character, you're probably going to be okay. But I do think for me it was tougher. If we don't get these discs a little bit in line here, that last sector is going to be a lot of energy waste. That's what I'm worried about. But
yeah.
How about for you? Where are you at?
Nowhere near as far as you. I am at the boss of Sector 2, the Bosk boss. And I am sitting at 139 biscuits.
So you just like the pressure. That's all it is.
So
I mean, because You got Red Crate last time, right?
All right. Yeah. I haven't, let's see. I'm looking at Sector 2. I haven't done any of the Night Sister ones, but that won't be hard once I start it. But everything else, I'm making good progress there. I haven't gotten any of them complete, but they're all close. Event feats, I'm almost done with the Captain Rex one. Haven't done any Gungans yet. I should probably start that soon, huh? I use?
I use gas with them, and it just at the end. And I'll tell you what, that went really, really pretty quick.
What
with the
I did last
discs.
time was Zealous Ambition, like 3 Zealous Ambitions, Dash Rendar, and 4 Gungans. Dash goes, everything dies, your Gungan survived. Sweet.
There you go.
But so far, that's not happening. Wow, yeah, Sector 1, I'm like really, really, really close to done with every one of those feats, but don't have any of them done. So over the next couple days, I'll probably come close to catching up to you. We'll see.
Nice.
But yeah, those data discs make all the difference in Conquest. If you roll garbage data discs, it's hard. Let me see what I'm rocking right now. I've got 2 Ruthless Swiftness. Ugh. Why?
I know, right?
Why do I have 2 of those? I have a Stacking Fervor, Volatile Accelerator, Leader's Resolve, Heal Over Time. These are all like okay, but there's no synergy to it. I don't have like a machine built, you know? So I've got another Ruthless Swiftness. I don't know what I'm doing, man. Actually, that'd probably be pretty solid 3 of them with Night Sisters. Because it's whenever someone goes below 100%, and like they do that quick.
Oh yeah, they do.
I don't know. Anyways, let's take a minute here and talk about Grand Arena. We have finished our 5v5, going back to 3s. We got those good datacrons disappearing. Well, they have disappeared already. How was that last week of 5v5 for you?
It was a rocky road. I mean, and we're not talking the good ice cream either. It was demotion after the first round, and then promoted
down to 3.
Yeah, I went down to 3, unfortunately. So when they did that push, I don't know what happened, but I didn't think I was losing that bad in 3v3. But either way, so getting into round 1, I turned it on and they had 1730, and I had a ton of holds, and so I'm sort of thinking, man, this is gonna be great. I mean, I look and Malicos held against Sid and Phoenix. Riva held against Bane, which was weird because it was a Bane team. And then they used Grand Inquisitor,
goodness. Like a full team of 5.
Yeah, that was weird.
Don't know what they're doing. Oh, my
and
goodness.
So. And then they used their gas against my gas, and I had Queen Amidala in there. So it was a gas off, but I had a queen. So
nice.
And so that didn't work for him. And then Qui-Gon held against a Revan team. So that was kind of. So I'm thinking, man, all I got to do is just win this, and I should be set. And I always Bane. So grateful that just destroys Rey. It just feels so nice. And I ended up using Kenobi against Jabba, which is great. My Star Killer went through and did a mirror match, which was perfect. I mean, it was my first time using Leia against Lord Vader. I'm feeling great. And then Sidious did not do well against Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, but I was able to get a Gus to clean that up. And then Finn, what in the world, Finn? Holdocron. And so I started off thinking, okay, I know this is going to be a tough team. I got Jedi Master Luke. Let's just do it. I think this is going to be an overkill on it. I didn't scratch the surface.
I have tried that. I have tried that matchup. It is shockingly bad.
Because I thought maybe Cal was going to go through and be able to just delete, and no. Okay, so then I thought, okay, my next best team is going to be Bo. That didn't go anywhere. That was basically a horrible thing. Then I'm like, all right, Maul. I mean, can Maul do this? No, Maul can't do this. And then finally I'm like, Wampa, please, you just need to beat this team. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't beat him. So it was really a chance for me to win. And unfortunately with that, I lost basically because of Finn, and he got me relegated. So the final score was 1,011 to 1,730. And so, dang. Yikes. So then we get to the next one, which is against Patriot, like I said earlier. And I ended up with a score of 1,776. So that was wonderful, right? So go America. Yeah. Right?
America.
Makes me think of the one with the puppets.
Yeah.
And so man. Bane again, outstanding. I don't even put who he's going against it in this time. It's just awesome to have Bane just beat stuff.
Bane's out there baning.
Sith Eternal solo versus their Sith Eternal team. That's always great. So that works out perfectly for me. Full ship clear. Like, holy moly. You know, I mean, for me to get a full ship clear without having any type of holds or failures on there is wonderful. And then I get down to the bottom piece, and there's a Vader, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't have much for this. They did a really big time, had a lot of GLs on there, so I'm like, maybe I can do Jedi Master Luke against Vader. I looked online; it's not bad. I just got all the way down to Luke versus Vader, and it was rough. So didn't work out. Maul cleaned up, and then I thought, well, I mean, there's an Inquisitor team in there. It had a GI on there, not like Reva. I'm like, Starkiller can take this team. Didn't work out for me on that one. So, but luckily they got held up, which is really nice. So weirdly enough, I had Qui-Gon with Luminar on there and survived their gas, and he never attacked it again. T.O., nice. Which is my Traya and Oppress team. CLS couldn't beat it. Maul couldn't beat it. And then Malicos got a hold for him for Night Sisters, and they just didn't attack again. So end up winning that one 1776 to 876. So thank you, Patriot, for allowing me to have a good fourth and not you.
Right. I like to think it was because Patriot was out there just really celebrating.
There you go, right? I mean, you're talking, fireworks out of their hands, while having a brewski and all. So
playing the bass.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, it's just off-tune bass. So then round 3 is against 250, which is an awesome name, by the way.
That really is, yeah. I appreciate that.
And this was a little bit rough because I started first, and I pulled up a score of 322, and then I quit. Not the whole game, luckily. I just for that moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, there's no way I'm winning this one. It was rough. Leia couldn't beat Reva. Bo couldn't beat Gus. Starkiller couldn't beat Queen Amidala. And I basically said, I think I'm good today.
Yeah.
And so then I got back at 5 o'clock, probably 5:15, opened it up, and I saw a win. I'm thinking, holy moly, like, what is wrong?
What?
Like, this shouldn't happen. So I won 322 to a whopping 75. So it was another one of those ones where they beat one team handily, and they basically say, I could have beat you, but I just didn't have the time.
Perfect score on one battle, and I'm out.
Thank you, 250. I mean, it was perfect for me. So that's I limped continued into Kyber 2. So how about for you? Because you're in Kyber 2 as well, right?
I am Kyber 2. Yeah. Rough start. I went up against Darth Lucas, and I misread, or didn't misread. I misused Insight, and I accidentally picked like Queen Amidala as a member instead of a lead. And so like it fed me. It was like, oh yeah, Jedi Master Luke will beat that. Oh no, he won't. No, he will not. That was bad. And then I had CLS against Keller and Beck that went, about as well as you would expect. That was ugly. I had Traya lose against Finn, and I just at that point, I was too far behind. The defenses were too strong, and I ended up losing 1091 to 1829. So when you can't even get a full clear, when you log in and see that they put up 1829, I feel better. You know, I'm like, hey, nothing I could have done at that point. You know, I did my best and they did their better. Round 2, I went up against Timbit, and it was interesting that my Jedi Master Kenobi failed the mirror match because that Padmecron, I mean, whew. But I was able to obviously take out General Kenobi with my cat, right? And then I stayed in the battle. I was able to take out their cat as well, which really makes a huge
big
difference.
deal.
So then I was able to clean it up. I don't remember what I used for cleanup. But then on defense, so I put up 1830. Sweet.
That's
on
huge, yeah.
Defense, I got like 10 holds.
Oh, wow.
I think. My Lord Vader held against Fennec, against Sith Eternal Emperor, Dr. Aphra, Ewoks, Mon Mothma, and Gas. That's 6 holds just for Lord Vader. And finally, Reva took him out. I also got a hold with Qui-Gon Jinn versus Newt Gunray.
Interesting.
That's not a thing. Jabba held against Phoenix and against Jedi Knight Luke. And then Reva held against Traya, Admiral Raddus, and Wampa. That is 12 holds.
Wow.
Holy smokes. So they only put up 1,007 to my 1830. So I feel like I wasted an amazing score there. But that was the one, I believe, that I had a huge galactic power advantage, like 2 million or something. Then in the final round, I went up against Master Vader. Yeah, gotta be careful saying that one. Master Vader 101, and I did a nice, clean, full clear, 1825. And man, he got in there and did his best, but he could not clear me. It was 1697 at the end. My Lord Vader held against Bo-Katan. Man, my Lord Vader is like MVP.
Yeah, doing well. Yeah.
In this. Say what you will about, oh, you shouldn't go for Lord Vader. Look what mine just did. It's something. I mean, to be fair, one of those attacks was with Ewoks, you know?
Still.
Lord Vader held against Bo. Ewoks got a hold against a Maul Mandalorian team.
Wow.
Finn got a hold against a 5-man Sith Eternal team. And Gungans without Jar Jar. Night Sisters got a hold against Admiral Raddus. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon got a hold against Traya, Starkiller, and Queen Amidala. So I feel like this was my best defensive Grand Arena in a while. And in round 1, I didn't have a single defense. It was just full clear. Boom.
Agreed.
You're dead.
Yeah, me too.
But rounds 2 and 3 were like, oh my goodness. Just defense was working.
Right.
Love to see it. All right. We've gone on long enough, man. We got to let these people get back to work or whatever it is they're doing. Back to their families. They've been in the bathroom for 1 hour and 3 minutes already listening to us. Who are you grinding?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this won't take too long here. I mean, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
But, I mean, I can prolong it, but no. Poncho Pals, it is so wonderful that Padawan Kenobi is finally grindable, and I'm doing all the refreshes on him up to 200s because I'm not that rich. You know, I can't do that 200. But
we got that end of GAC bonus.
I know, right?
Get a little crazy.
And it almost felt like more this time. Like I got 2,000 this time. I'm like, man, this is nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is all for Kenobi.
Yeah.
We went from 42 out of 65 up to 73 out of 85. He went from gear 9 to gear 12-ish, because as soon as we get that to 7 stars, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
So now working on Qui-Gon. He's still 29 out of 30, so that's going to be a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't be on fleet hard node like 20 or something. Like, don't make it to where we get one out of the 2.
Put him.
I know. Do Cantina. Be nice.
I'd almost prefer they don't, because I need signal data so bad.
True.
Too.
Well, he went from gear 8 to gear 9, so we're getting there. I'm going to get him up to gear 11-ish again. Jar Jar grind. Boss Nass went from 36 out of 100 up to 48 out of 100. Boomadir from 9 out of 85 up to 21 out of 85. And then, wow, I didn't even realize this. This is not a good week for me. Phalanx is 34 out of 85 up to a whopping 39 out of 85.
Oof,
so,
yeah,
man. But Lord Vader's side of it, Tech is finished up to 7 stars. I'm not saying finished in relics yet, because I think he is gear 1. That'll be a little bit of a work. That's a lot of
Cairo journey.
Yep. So Echo is about ready to go up a next star. Went from 52 out of 65 up to 64 out of 65. And then Hunter now only needed a 4, and now we're done to 7 stars. 96 out of 100 up to that 7 stars. So Embo will be my last shard individual that I need to get done, and then it's just going to be a lot of gear and relics. But
yeah,
maybe my Lord Vader will be that great person 2 years from now when I finally end up getting him. So,
right.
But yes, and then Zetas. It's really want to get the Poncho Pals up to where they need to go. So Qui-Gon has his stay close to me, so that is kind of nice. But I will say that Kenobi's going to take everything, and Qui-Gon's going to take everything. So poor Vader's going to be pushed just a little bit back, but I just think it's the right thing to do. So
yeah.
So yes, that's my...
Especially with this raid right now, like, strike while the iron's hot, right?
Mm-hmm. So I kept it under 20 minutes, so it was at 3 minutes. So I have the stopwatch on. Okay. So who you grinding?
Not much. I'm just stockpiling like crazy. I've got Cairo for days.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know, 500 or 600 of both of them.
Oh,
just
wow.
Keep getting that Cairo, because all I'm spending regular energy on outside of that is Gungan, whichever one's on normal. Boomadir, Phalanx, I don't know.
I think Boomadir. Yeah.
So Boomadir
Phalanx
went
is
from
on fleet.
66 up to 92 out of 100. So we're going to be finishing that up very soon.
Quick, yeah.
Phalanx went from 41 up to 60 out of 100. So that shouldn't be too much longer. I got to get them both to Relic 5 before August, whatever, when Jar Jar comes around.
I think 12.
At this point, I'm fine. I've got like a whole month to get 40 shards. And I got a ton of crystals. So if I got to do some crazy stuff, I say a ton. I've got 5,000 crystals, which is a lot more than I usually. Yeah. I'm usually, I spend it all. But yeah, so we should be in really good shape by the time that rolls around. Omicrons, I did the Gungan raid Omicron, and don't regret that at all. I mean, 10 it only cost. I did the Bausch one, didn't regret that. I never got to do the Scout Trooper one, and to be completely honest, I do kind of regret it. If I would have done it early, and I would have gotten some use out of it, I wouldn't have been that upset about it. I know it was a little subpar, and it cost 20, which is a bit, but 10 for this one, yeah, absolutely did that. I just put together a Zeta today. I don't really have any idea what I'm going to do with it. I could do Night Trooper, but, a new marquee character, like, it's going to be a while before I actually use that for anything. I tried the bot in Discord, and it's like, you should definitely do Moff Gideon's leader
I know.
ability. And I'm like, I am definitely not doing that.
No.
Crazy. Not Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, but Moff Gideon. No one uses him as a lead. So yeah, I'm just kind of sitting on those, and I guess like worst case scenario, like when I get Luthen, I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Jar Jar, I should save for that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I guess I just have to learn to live with those little red ones. Some of my characters.
It's not easy.
It
Not
really
easy.
is not. Then let's see. Master Qui-Gon's at 36 out of 65. Big chillin', no move there. Padawan Obi-Wan has gone from 48 out of 65 up to 30 out of 100.
Wow.
So we are really moving with that. He should be, I mean, at that rate, he's next week. He'll be done.
Yeah. I'm a little jelly on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have big plans for him outside of certain things, like I want that Qui-Gon, Queen Amidala team to be firing on all cylinders, but that's going to be a while because of Master Qui-Gon. Mm-hmm. So I'll get Obi-Wan and I'll see what I can do with him in the raid, and maybe in Grand Arena. I don't know. But that's all I'm working on right now. My favorites are literally just those Poncho Pals, those two Gungans, and Night Trooper. Because that's the only characters I care about in the game right now. You know what I mean? I had Sith Assassin in my favorites for the better part of a week, and I just took her out the other day because I don't think I'm going to do it right now. I kind of want to relic her up for the Leviathan mirror match.
Yeah.
I've got her at Relic 5, and the way I see it, like, a lot of people have taken her to Relic 9, and I don't think that's crazy. I totally see why you would do that. Because if your Sith fighter goes first, you're almost guaranteed to win. However, even at Relic 5, there's a lot of Relic 5 Sith Assassins out there. So what if I just bumped her up to 6? Then I would win any mirror match with a Relic 5. And if I bumped her up to 7 eventually, well, now I've got a 50-50 shot against Relic 7s, so each Relic level does matter with her. And it depends on your shard, I guess, but it's kind of on my radar. The raid has so many relic requirements right now that I don't see me working on her. But again, if you ignore your fleet, you're losing a lot of crystals.
Agreed.
And those crystals build up, and you turn it into better raid teams. And it's just kind of me working those numbers of how much do I want to focus on this? And is it worth it for me to do this other thing to eventually accelerate my raid stuff? I just don't want to get kicked out of the guild.
There you go. Right?
I'm just here so I don't get kicked out of the guild.
There you go.
That's all we got for you this week. It may not be the best advice, but at least we didn't recommend you get kicked out of the guild. If you want to continue the conversation, join our Discord server, linked in the show description. Become a real live Jawa by supporting us on Patreon, and share your thoughts by leaving us a podcast review. Big thanks also go out to Pabo Appa and SWGOH.GG and SWGOHevents.com for providing all the hard data we misinterpret weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and may the Force and RNG be with you.